What's going on, guys? Abrasius here. So today I will present you the first episode of Pimp My List, where I will try to look at the lists you've sent me and work them out. So if you have lists that you want me to help you with, then just send them to me, and I will try to make them into the video and send you some general advice as well. So today we'll start with Empire of Sonnstahl from one of our ETC level players in Poland. So this is a pretty basic list with with two big blocks, one big block of Imperial Guards and one big block of cavalry with characters inside. There are some support units, and then the obvious steam tank and the cannon. So what are the pros and cons of this list? Yeah, pros, you have very solid two fighting units, and as you could have seen, there is a knight commander there, so the cavalry bus also can get orders. You have 18-inch general and 18-inch order, which seems fine, but in this kind of list, I don't think that 18-inch changes that much. And then there is decent amount of magic with the prelate and cosmology master. And obviously, thanks to the parent support unit combinations, the list is very strong combat resolution wise, since you can get very weird charges and very weird support with this heavy infantry, and all the units have standards, so it really helps. What are the cons? Like, there are no free deployments in this list. Pretty much everything except maybe for one militia is important, and most of the time you will be much better just dropping everything off to start or to make your opponent start, since basically anything you will deploy will show most of your deployment. There is also no real chaff. The fastest chaff here is the militia. Like, not necessarily you need chaff in this kind of lists, because you can take most of the charges and countercharge with your heavy infantry, but on the other hand, lack of battlefield control is really a huge problem for me. You have practically no light shooting. You have only 2 cannons from shooting, and skirmishing bows. Yeah, like 20 bows it's not much. There are some synergies in the list. So if you look at it, you have stuff like the Locket of Sana, and then you buy yourself a Hero's Heart, which most likely will not be used, and there are some small things that don't necessarily work quite together. And there's overcrowded core. Like, I can understand sometimes taking more things from core, but not necessarily in this case, especially if you can exchange militia for something like rangers. So how does this list look at the battlefield? You can probably expect a steam tank to be blocking one of the flanks. Then the cavalry I would expect to be on the other flank. Here in this deployment, I want the impossible to kind of cover my flank of the cavalry, since I can take most of the charges to the front. But if I get combo charge from different sides, then I cannot really I cannot really counter charge, and generally maybe I will be broken CR wise. So the militias are one militia is near the cav to support it with the with chaffing if needed, and to support it with allowing the mage to go there when combat will be closer. And the other militias on the other flank also helping with chaffing and control of the battlefield. So what I would change in this list, I think there are several things that are quite unnecessary here. So I think that 18-inch general is not really needed, especially and leadership 10 is a bit too much. I think that the unit of Imperial Guards is a bit too big. I like to have my units cheaper, because if you have 38 Imperial Guards, yeah, they can take a lot, but you lack other units, and if you have 30 of them, they probably will do very much the same, but you have other units to deal with. And I would like to decrease this overcrowdedness of the core, because most likely units out of the core are better than units in core. So what is my suggestion? I would probably go with Altar of Battle, because I like what it does. I like the range. I like the locket on it, and the banishment is very good. I think the Wizard Master of Cosmology might stay. With Altar, you can most likely have hatred on both your units, so it's a bit better. Then the Marshal will get Great Tactician to keep 2 orders, and the Death Warrant to keep the battle focus for the Imperial Guard. I would decrease Knightly orders slightly, then decrease the Imperial Guard slightly, and exchange 1 heavy infantry for light infantry. And with all those points, I can buy myself 2 times Reiters with repeater guns. So this is actually a pretty nice unit, because with 12-inch Vanguard, you can shoot first turn without movement penalty, which is quite unusual for a weapon that has only 24-inch range and has a huge penalty for moving. So how does this look on the battlefield? As you can see, it doesn't change that much, but the amount of shooting you have and the control of the battlefield, I think, is quite high. If you are fighting anything that has cannons, you probably want to start with your altar behind the hill. Also, you can see that now the Knight Commander is a general, which is a bit of a problem, because you only have 12-inch range. You can also make the Prelate the general, which might be more helpful. Maybe here the militia and light infantry could be exchanged with the cavalry bus. So after this, I would like to present some other picks. Maybe this is even more interesting pick here. Instead of Altar of Battle, you can just go with double prelates, since you basically only have 2 units that contribute from the hatred. Then double prelates will be cheaper and safer, and you can make the prelate in the on foot unit a general. So then you will have easier bubble to produce, and you don't need to have your cavalry block so close to the center. Also, I think that if you lack some magic, because cosmology might be lacking at these times, you can try fitting in the Wizard Apprentice on horse or on Griffon. They are both very cheap. They can both be treated as chaff, but the Griffon one also as a more heavy chaff, since Griffon has 4 attacks with strength 6, which is nothing to sneeze at. Then you have the Inquisitor with the cheap version. Why the cheap version? Like, this list is heavy on characters. There's not much slot for the characters, so you have to be very careful with what you pick. I think if you pick the double prelate build, you could probably sneak in the Wizard Apprentice, maybe Inquisitor. Probably Inquisitor only if you take 1 prelate though. Also, Imperial Rocketeers can be a good substitute for the cannon if you take 2 of them, because they are much more general, and you will find lists that will not care much about cannons, but you will most likely not find lists that will not care about Rocketeers, since Rocketeers are a very well-rounded unit. So what are some other interesting choices in the book? There is also the more expensive Inquisitor, which has permanent reroll to hit, permanent reroll ammo, and has a bit more attacks, but only AP2. There are the Knights of Sun Griffon without lances and without musician. As I said in the other video, this is 290 for 9 wounds with 2 up armor save, with lots of strength 5 attacks. So they are kind of worth it for me. There is the dragon. I personally find that dragons are really underused in the current edition, and I think that the dragon is generally a pretty good pick. In the Empire, unfortunately here it has to be general, so you have to tailor the list a bit more to it. But it has the built-in attacks with AP 10 that wound automatically, so that's not bad either. And then for 310 points, you can get 20 Flaglands. This is very interesting unit in my opinion. Like they can run pretty easily on flanks since they don't care about panic checks. Then if your opponent doesn't have tools to kill them from shooting, they will always strike their attacks in close combat. This is obviously a better addition if you have the Altar of Battle, because you don't risk your prelate there, and Battle Focus plus Hatred is probably the best combo of rules you currently have in the books. And they are very, very cheap. Like, this is 300 points for 20 bodies of Toughness 4. I think that's a very, very decent price. Okay, that's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you in the next one. Cheers.